In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add extra images to SMUDGR. As you can see here, we have the standard SMUDGR images loaded, and now I'm going to show you how to add more of these in here. To show this, I have downloaded one of the images from Polygon. I can really recommend these. They make really great surface imperfections. And there are download options. They don't have 4K, so I've just downloaded the highest variant, 6K in this case. And the files you get these different kinds of files. And for SMUDGR, you're gonna need the one with the black background. So if you have files from another source where you only have a white background, you just need to invert this so you get black background on your image. I'm going to open this in Photoshop. And the things I'm going to show you here in Photoshop, you can also do them in other image editing programs, free ones also. I'm just going to show you how I do it. First, it's important to check if the background is truly black. So for that, I'm just going to go to the levels adjustment, and I can see here that it's all the way to the left, so I know there's at least a decent amount of purely black pixels in the image. This is important because when it's not truly black, the roughness of your material changes when you apply this smudge to it. That's not what we want. And now I will show you a quick way to save the different resolutions in one go. First, I will save this main image with a new name. I'm just going to remove here from the name the last suffixes for which says 6K, and also the call, because I don't really know why we would include this in this case. Going to save it. This is just to give it a name. It doesn't really matter what you put in here because this is not the actual image you'll be using. Then we'll go to File, Export, and Export As. And this allows you to quickly export different resolutions in one go. Because SMUDGR currently only supports up to 4K textures, I'm going to fill in here 4696 by 1496. Oh. Of course, well, here it's rounded to 97. It doesn't really matter. You can even still keep this as 6K, but just to know, it will be named 4K anyways in the menus of SMUDGR. And then for the suffix, here I will do underscore 4K, and it's important here to use the capital K. That's how SMUDGR recognizes it. Then we'll add two different variants, one at half the resolution and one at a quarter of the resolution, and we'll name this 2K and 1K. Then I really recommend keeping this at the 100%, otherwise you'll maybe see some weird artifacts in your images. And then afterwards we can press Export All. It will ask us for a folder. This is fine for now. And when this is done, you can now find in the folder where you selected it new file names. If you were to do this manually, it's very important that everything before this suffix is exactly the same for the files, because otherwise when it goes from one file to the other, it will not recognize the other file because it looks at the name. So first part exactly the same, and then underscore, and then 1, 2, or 3 for the resolution, and a capital K. And currently also SMUDGR only supports JPEG, so either JPG or JPEG, and PNG images. This is to ensure that the add-on stays quick, because larger file formats like TIFF, they take longer to load, and I tested it, it doesn't really give much benefits for the quality of the smudges. Then to import these, we're just going to select them, copy these, go into the SMUDGR files folder, I've already opened it here, and just paste them. As you see, they show up here now. When we go into Blender, nothing changed here. That's because we need to go into the preferences and press in the SMUDGR add-on panel, SMUDGR, and then update images. And as you see, now we've got an extra one here at the start. This is always categorized by alphabetically, so that's how you know where in the list it's going to be. And as you see, 2K, 4K, this works just fine. If you would want to remove some of the images, the process is really similar. You just delete the images from this folder, and when you go back you can see it's still here, and when you click it, it might warn you, but that's because they're not there anymore. You just need to go back into preferences and update the images again. And after you've done this, when you press the next smudge button, it might give you an error here in the bottom bar for the first time, but you can just ignore this. It will not show up again. Then for Scratcher, the process is also quite similar, but one exception is that Scratcher also uses a 0K file. This 0K file has the exact same name as the others, but this is just used as a preview, and you could put exactly the same as this one here. It doesn't really matter for that part, but I've chosen to make this a close-up of the file so you can clearly see what's going on. And to keep the add-on working well, you always need to include this 0K file as well, because otherwise it will not know what to display in the menu. So to summarize, just the 1K, 2K and 4K files, and then one extra file. In this case it's a 300 by 300 pixel close-up in the same file format also. So this is just for Scratcher, the 0K file. That's not for the normal smudge maps. Also note that for Scratcher I've chosen to use PNG instead of JPEG, and this is because the artifacts you get from JPEG images are much clearer in normal maps than in the normal smudge maps, so I would recommend using the PNG format for Scratch maps. So that's all. That's how you import images into SMUDGR, extra images.